Yeah, and you can go ahead and lead us in.
All right, everybody, welcome to our Transformational Stories call. We got November 10th, 2025. Time is moving on
Every day.
every day. Who are we going to bring up first for a Transformational Stories call?
Well, if you want to give a little lead in about this call for us, for our folks who are going to be watching the recording later, that would be great. Or I can, happy to do whatever.
Yeah, I think a Transformational Stories call is always our opportunity to hear how people have received AmpCoil into their homes, the impact that it's made, whether on an emotional or a physical or an energetic level. We get to hear lots of different stories especially over the years, of people that have had these just wonderful experiences. There's both big and small wins. And it's really nice to get on one Zoom call and have everybody share a little bit so we're all on the same page.
Absolutely. They're my favorite calls. I get the most inspired by getting on here and hearing everyone's story. And the first person we're going to have up is Wendy Moore. She lives out in Bend, Oregon. She is also an ambassador with us. Um, but once she gets in and on, I will let her take it away. I'm going to switch our view to speaker view and we can get going. Hi, Wendy.
Hi, Magnolia. Hi, Freddie.
Hi, Wendy. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right. Well, lead us in. What are we going to talk about?
Well, I'm Wendy Moore. I'm from Bend, Oregon, and I know Magnolia and I talked on the phone last week and talking about me sharing today. And so I was telling her that I don't know, do I really have that transformational of a journey? Like, I'm not like bedbound back to work, but when I really sat down and thought about it and what I would share, because it has been like 7 years, it was impactful for myself just to like reflect back on, what brought me to it and my daughter and um, how I feel today, as a result of my health journey, a lot of different modalities, but AmpCoil's, played a big role in that. So back in 2018, my daughter had her perfect storm. She was diagnosed with Lyme and co-infections and mast cell and mold and the fun little cluster that all comes together
Hmm.
oftentimes. And she had a very neurological Lyme, so hers was pretty intense. And we went to Germany for a really intensive hypothermia treatment. We came back from that, and even though the treatment was really effective, she was having a lot of trouble with detoxing. And so we just, kept researching. We were kind of in this whole Lyme community, different Facebook groups and things like that, just trying to find ways to support her because she still was really struggling. And AmCoil kind of came to us with a couple of different ways. Like a friend mentioned it, in addition to me seeing some ads and people talking about it in some Facebook groups. And so we started exploring about it and decided, and she's a young adult at this time, and so her dad and I kind of collaborated on agreeing to co-purchase one for her. And luckily, she lived near me at the time because I was kind of helping her navigate her health journey. And so I got the benefit of getting to start to use it, which was super fun. And then fast forward to 2020, she had healed enough that she decided to move back to Montana. And I was like, well, let me back up. So that was in 2020. In the spring of 2020, I started figuring out some interconnectedness in my own health. And while it presented differently, I had the same cluster with mold and mast cell and Lyme and all the things. Mine was very arthritic as far as the Lyme picture. And, I had only gotten as far as using some of the supportive journeys and the 30-step detox, but I had not really got into the whole Lyme protocol or anything. And she decided to move in the fall of that year. And I'm like, oh no. I mean, I was sad she was moving, but I was also sad I wasn't going to have access to an AmpCoil anymore. And so I decided to purchase my own. And so I had to wait. They were really backlogged at that time. I think it was like into the new year that I finally received it, and I was excited to kind of get back to it. So I kind of started all over, going through the 30 steps again and setting the foundation and starting to just navigate through it. And, I've really relied on the supportive journeys a lot through that season. And while I was working with a naturopath and doing some other things, it just was a huge piece to the process of my healing journey. And fast forward, 5 years later, I feel so much better. I don't even really consider that I have Lyme anymore. I don't like to wear that label. I feel like it's in remission. And while sometimes I'll have a day just because, age and life and weather and things like that, I'll sense some barometric pressure or something. I might have some, just life symptoms. And so for me, it's more of a lifestyle because I just grab
Yeah.
and use what resonates with me. If I'm like, oh, I'm feeling kind of achy today, then I do pain release. Or if I'm feeling a little brain foggy, then I do brain reboot or, headache help. Or when my husband or I have like a cold coming on, of course, it's always immune boost or the cold journeys or that type of thing. I did become an ambassador I think it was in 2019, like when I was using her AmpCoil. And then I got on the pre-order for the mat when it was coming. And sort of what motivated me there was for my husband because he has a lot of lower back pain. And I thought, hey, it's worth investing in that if it makes a difference in how he's doing with his back. I also did a lot of gut work with my naturopath, and while we were treating like things like Candida and H. pylori that I was diagnosed with, on GI map, um, she was really surprised when we reran tests that I had cleared those so quickly with the work that we had done, and I really attribute that to the AmpCoil and just, raising the vibration. Uh,
Yeah, amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
Well,
You, Wendy, when did you first get your amp coil? 2018?
My daughter's, we got hers in 2018, and then I got my own in early 2021. Yep.
Amazing. Yeah, so we've been coiling for about the same time. I think I got mine in the fall of
Yep.
2018.
Yep. Remember
Yeah.
being on calls with you back then.
Yeah, back in the day. I really want to just I want to mirror and echo what you're saying is that it becomes, there are those times when we get amp coil in a crisis and then it really does become a lifestyle. It's just sort of something like brushing your teeth or going to the gym or doing our 10,000 steps a day that we're going to invest in over time. I remember hearing stories of people saying, I was really sick and I used it and then I'm like, now I don't need it anymore because I'm not
Hmm.
sick anymore. And that always struck me as funny because life keeps happening, right? We have times where um, stuff's going to roll in and certainly never know what that's going to be. I always look at it like a little insurance policy that AmpCoil provides that I've got a heavy hitter next to the bed or in the living room or wherever I'm keeping it. Yeah, and it's always yeah, it's always one one journey of pushing play on one journey away.
Yeah. And when you have a major health crisis, it kind of humbles you and you realize it's how important it is to listen to your body and support your body and that type of thing. And I was also going to say, I never even made it through the whole Lyme protocol, and I, feel, pretty dang good at this
Yeah,
point. So
amazing. Amazing. Well, we love that. We love that. We love the story and thank you for your share. It's incredible.
absolutely happy to do it.
Yeah, I love it.
Awesome, Wendy. Thank you so much for coming and joining us today. Yeah, it really is a lifestyle, and I'm thankful that we were able to speak and you were able to be like, actually, there's a lot of story here, my
Yeah.
husband, my daughter, my gut, the Lyme. It's just pretty phenomenal, all the many, many shades that AmpCoil is able to assist with. It's great.
Yeah. And I love the new journeys. The nervous system regulation's my favorite. It's a great bedtime routine.
I love
Absolutely. And
it.
it's only 10 minutes too, so it's
Yep,
great.
exactly.
That's a good closer for everybody. What is your new favorite journey
Yeah, exactly.
from that
Yep,
list?
that's it.
I love the extended drainage journey. That's the 30-minute. That's my fave.
Nice.
Love it. All right, Wendy, well, I'm going to change you back to an attendee. Thank you again so
Okay.
much for joining us. And I am going to invite on Casey and Brad to come and share. They actually are going to visit their wedding coordinator soon. So we want to get them in here, congratulate them on their exciting wedding news.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear us and see us?
We sure
Yes, we can.
can.
How are you guys doing?
Going.
Good. How are you? Thank you for having us
Good.
on.
Of course. Congratulations, first off.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. No, we're
Thanks.
really excited. Um,
Amazing.
but yeah, so my name is Casey. I'm 26. Brad and I live right outside DC in Falls Church, Virginia. So if anyone on the call is around the area and wants to come over, do the AmpCoil, just get a cup of coffee, let us know. But I'm an oncology nurse at Georgetown Hospital, so I'm kind of in the health realm, but I feel like my journey to AmQuil was a little different. And just as like a little backstory, in 2019, I had a stroke and I needed brain surgery to repair an AVM that was in my brain. So anything health related is just very anxiety producing, and just I guess a little triggering for me. So, the past couple of years, I feel like Brad and I have really been on a health journey together of just eating whole foods. We love doing the sauna. I've done like a parasite cleanse before. I like getting colonics done, like just really hounding in on all those, crunchy things that are just, make you feel good. And so the one thing that was I really wanted to get the root cause of was I was having really bad period pain, and I just wasn't getting answers and not, getting, go on birth control, and that's just not what I wanted to hear. So I decided to reach out to a functional medicine doctor in the area. She ran a plethora of labs and tests, and it actually turned out that I had Lyme disease. And I feel like my journey is a little different because, I wasn't bedbound. I was kind of like surprised by this diagnosis, and I was like, this doesn't really add up to me. And I feel like anyone with a chronic health issue can probably relate to this, but sometimes we meet practitioners and they don't always give us the best advice, or sometimes they can feel like a money grab. And I feel like, unfortunately, with this practitioner, it was kind of just, making me do more tests and doing more protocols, and I didn't feel like I was getting anywhere. And again, some of the things just didn't resonate with me. I did 3 months of minocycline antibiotics and ruined my gut. I was not
Mm,
feeling well afterwards, and like I still felt like I don't I don't I don't feel my best. I'm having bad brain fog. So I was just kind of at my wit's end a little bit. And I was actually on my way to urgent care one night because I was on the antibiotics. I was super dizzy. I wasn't feeling well. And he called me and he was like, I just met, someone amazing. They're going to heal your Lyme. So I'll let Brad kind of speak on that a little bit more. But it
Yeah.
kind of
Oh,
what
sorry.
no, it's fine. It kind of just what led us to Marjorie, who is anyone who doesn't know Marjorie, get to know her. She's awesome. But I'll just let Brad kind of explain that part of it and what led us to the amp coil.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Brad. Yeah, so I was working at a butcher shop that I work at one day, and this guy named Jeff comes in, and it was a godsend that he came in. He was talking about how his wife had Lyme disease, and I was like, oh my God, like my girlfriend at the time was on her way to urgent care, like what's going on? Like this is insane. So he gets to talking like, I'm going to introduce you to Marjorie. We have this PEMF device called the AmpCoil. And then I think it was the next week we went to Marjorie's house and we did a demo. We were like, this is incredible. We felt it right away. We rented an AmpCoil for a month and Casey and I were sold. It was a big investment as a young couple, but we were like, we can have this forever. And, our future kids, we can heal and it's just gonna be awesome. So we pulled the trigger pretty quick. And then
I think we were talking to Magnolia like literally within like a week of running it.
yeah.
We're like, we're ready. We're gonna do this now. So it ended up really working out. And I also just feel like with the AmpCoil, I feel I ended up seeing someone else and I did a lot of homeopathic remedies, which really helped with the Lyme. And then the AmpCoil just helped to, you can't heal if your nervous system is completely out of whack and you're dysregulated. So the AmpCoil really helped me to just get back to center, feel more grounded, feel like, I was just more in a balanced emotional state, which then kind of led to everything else falling in place. So it was so huge with, just really getting into that Zen headspace and feeling better. So there's just so many amazing journeys on there, and it is kind of funny. I feel like every time we try to explain what PMF is, people just kind of like turn their head to the side, like, I don't get it. I'm like, you need to come try it because it's amazing. And Brad's a really big athlete. He's done an Ironman before. He just ran the Marine Corps Marathon here in DC, and he uses it a lot for recovery. He can attest to that, but
Yeah, it's been incredible, just the nutrition tune-ups and just feeling good. And it's changed my perspective on kind of looking at the world, just frequencies. You can choose to listen to anything going on around you. And when you're doing an amp coil session, like actually setting that intention and like allowing your body to listen to what's going on is when I feel the best effect.
Yeah, amazing. I want to add too because the amp coil is PEMF. I remember a long time ago I used to say PEMF plus because you have the value proposition of an electromagnetic wave, which is very definable, of helping the cell make more energy, dump garbage, and breathe, and you boost microcirculation, unrefutable. And then he's got this other side, the plus side, like the amp coil plus, is like all the frequency journeys. Like there's no PEMF devices with nutrition and balance the mind and deep sleep. And so we have this other side, which is like the music of the machine. And I think that's really interesting in this technology that weaves in music into the therapy. And only an AmpCoil owner could tell you that the deep sleep is different than positivity, is very different than the nutrition tune-up, is very different than, balance the mind. Like they all feel very differently. And that's the magic of the body listening to that frequency and that music and making those micro adjustments in the micro environment of the body. Always been really fascinating to me. And I feel like you said it a couple times, like, come over and try it. Like just come over, come amp coil and well, I
we
can I
just
could I can only explain it. You can explain it, and at the end of the day, you have to put someone in the chair and be like, hey, you're not going to talk for a little while. Just hold this gold pineapple and just chill out.
yeah, we
And
just
then
moved into our place in Falls Church, and we have 3 bedrooms. We designated one of the rooms. We call it our amp coil room. So we put a little
yeah.
couch in there. We have our red light. And like even for, if you're looking for more connection time with a loved one, we sit in there at night. We do our amp coil, and it's just a moment for us to kind of get ready before we go to bed. We have our tea with us. Like it's just a nice, relaxing way to, end the day or start the morning and, just kind of spend time with someone if you're looking for a little extra time.
I love that. Do you when you guys go into the amp coil room, I'm assuming you've got a amp coil in the past year or two?
We got it February of 2025, so we're coming
Okay,
up on
great.
there. Yeah,
Can't believe we're going into 2026.
I
So
know.
did you get you obviously got an amp coil 3.0. Did you get the amp coil and a mat?
Yes, we
Yeah.
did. So he'll be
And
on the mat and I'll have the amp coil.
that was my question. You guys coiled together. So one person's matting, one person's coiling.
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
Awesome. Now, do you have a preference, the coil or the mat? That's just a curious question.
I normally do the coil just because with my brain stuff, I have a clip in my head, so it's yeah, I need to keep it below my stomach or like by
Mhm.
my stomach, so I normally do the coil.
Awesome.
If I have a choice, I'd do the coil, but if I'm like trying to get anything on my back or if my back's hurting, then I'll do the mat.
Amazing. And do you guys each have a favorite journey that you just absolutely love and resonate with?
Emotional balance, 100%.
Yeah.
I feel like we'll always be like, well, what do you want to do tonight? And he's like, deep sleep. I'm like, emotional balance. So let's do emotional balance.
Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. I love playing Relax All when if I have a wake up in the middle of the night, and if I don't know if you've ever guys have had this experience where it's like 2:30 or 3 and your body's like wakes up, especially with the clocks changing that it just happened. I really felt that my body is really trying to adjust to that, and being able to play Relax All, I can feel about 20 minutes in where everything just says, "Oh, we're good. We can go back to sleep for the rest of the night."
Yeah.
He just did that the other night, actually. He was like, I can't sleep. I'm going downstairs to do the AmpCoil. So he has done it before.
Yeah, amazing. Amazing. What would you, if you had any advice to somebody like looking at AmpCoil, or maybe there's something on the other side of being an owner that maybe you didn't know to ask, would you have anybody, is there any advice you'd have for anybody?
It's hard to say because we were working with Marjorie for a lot of it, and Marjorie's
Mm-hmm.
so amazing, so well informed, and I feel like she really like, we were texting back and forth any question we had, she would answer if we had any, sort of, if we had a problem going on, she would give us a program recommendation. So I don't know, I feel like just leaning into, some of these ambassadors or people who are the practitioners who really do know the program and the AMP coil, just, take their advice and lean into what they're saying.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, we really appreciate you guys taking a little time and sharing your perspective, and it's really helpful for people. Thank you.
Thank you for having
Thank
us.
you.
Yeah, so glad you're doing well. Go team
Thank
AmpCoil.
Yes.
I love the vision of seeing you guys at the end of the night with your amp coil and Nat, your
That's a great
tea.
idea.
We'll
Yeah.
take a
Yeah,
picture, we'll send
That's a
it.
yes,
great
I love
idea.
that. Stay tuned, everyone. We'll get a live picture. Well, thank y'all so much for coming on. I do remember the phone calls and speaking with you guys, and it's so great to see you both, on the other side of coming in. And so we really appreciate you sharing your story with everyone.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm gonna switch you guys back to the role of attendee. Um, and next up, we're going to hear from Marcella Thomas. I like to call her my cousin because we both have the same last name. Um, we met Marcella in New York City, actually, at an event that we did. And she is an amazing chiropractor up there. If anybody is in the New York area, she's right there in downtown Manhattan, I believe. Um, and she's just a light and a delight. And I'm really excited, Marcella, to have you on once you get your picture up and your sound going. I could keep ranting about what an amazing person you are, that's for sure.
Okay, sorry, I didn't have my video on. Okay. Hi everyone. It's great to meet you guys. I've just started with the AmCoil. It's only been a couple of months now, and I ended up getting the AmCoil. My story is I was starting with, hold on, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to adjust my phone. You guys can see me, right?
We can see you. Yep. We got
Okay,
good video.
perfect. Okay, perfect. So I was suffering from at first I did not know really kind of what was going on. Like it was I was just all over the place with my hormones. I was having like heart palpitations. I thought it was like anxiety. I was having irregularities with my menstrual cycle. Just a whole host of things were kind of going on with me all at once. And I went and saw my gynecologist, and I further found out with doing more testing that I was in perimenopause. So after that, they had only suggested for me to go on a low dose birth control. And I've never been on birth control. And at 43 with no children, please, that's not the route I want to go to on right now. And also, I just thought it was very disheartening that there was nothing that was out there that was natural for people. There were no natural suggestions that they had given me. I had asked my gynecologist, and she said, "Oh, maybe you could go on like one of these natural pills." But then she, in the same breath as saying that, the next thing that she says, "Oh, we've had so many women that have tried them, and they always end up back on the birth control." And it was shocking because I was saying that I cannot believe that there are no other treatment options out here for women, and especially it's something that every woman is going to go through, and it is such a long period of your time, for anywhere from 8 to 12 years you can be in perimenopause. So I had received a cold call, and any other time in my life, I probably wouldn't have just stopped what I was doing that weekend and gone to a health seminar. And I went that night because I was like, I just have to see kind of what else is out here. If we have anything else that, on the natural side, they're stating that can help with perimenopause symptoms. And at this point, I was not sleeping. I was waking up every 20 to 30 minutes in complete night sweats. I mean, completely drenched, like having to put towels down on my bed, like my clothes drenched, everything. And I was miserable. I wasn't able to work. I had all these fans. I had like a neck fan that they use in Florida, guys, and I'm in New York City. So a neck fan around my neck, and while I'm treating patients, I had fans on. I was having to like stop in the middle of treatments. Like my men patients were so funny because they'd be like, "Oh my God, doc, let me get up. Can I fan you?" And here I am supposed to be the doctor. And now everyone is sitting here helping me because I'm sweating profusely. So I ended up going to this event, and I met the owner, Aaron of AmpCoil, and he said, you have to come tomorrow to our session, and I'm gonna put you on the AmpCoil. So as soon as I got on the AmpCoil, I immediately could feel something that was going on. I remember being on the AmpCoil and kind of lightly having a hot flash and being like, "Oh my God, like what is going on?" Like, there's the way that they had it set up, there were people around you. So I'm like, "Oh my God, people are going to see me profusely sweating over here on this
Mhm.
machine." So I got off of the machine. I went home that night, and that was the first night in months that I actually slept. I slept 6 hours straight with not waking up in like a pool of sweat. So I was like, "Oh my God, what is this? Like, I have to come back and do it." I
Mhm.
text Aaron and I said, "Oh my God, I cannot. What is this miracle machine?" Because I just slept like 5 to 6 hours straight. I went there the next day. I got on it again. That night, I slept again another like 6 hours straight. No waking up, and it was history since then. The next day, he came into my office, and I was like, "I need this machine immediately." Um, and a lot of even the symptoms that I was having until I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm in perimenopause." I wasn't even thinking about perimenopause at 43 years old. So a lot of the symptoms I was having, Aaron had first told me to go and just do the cleanse. So I started off first and I started doing the 30-day cleanse. Um, and that I remember being at, I think it was like the seventh or eighth step of that. And I was drastically seeing a difference in just so many things. The anxiety was gone. um, I was sleeping so much better. I was still getting hot, but it wasn't that overall. I mean, for people that don't know like what a hot flash feels like, you have this overall feeling where like your insides feel like they're boiling. And then you just start like sweating all over your body. So I wasn't getting that. I was still getting hot, but I could see a difference of like my body inside wasn't feeling like it was like boiling completely. Um, and then by the time I had each time I did one of the settings with the 30-day detox, it just got better and better and better and better. So now I still do use my AmpCoil. I'll probably use it 4 to 5 days a week. I actually just gave it to one of my friends tomorrow because he is like dealing with some bladder issues. I've used it with my patients. I've had my best friend has used it. He was having some bladder issues with having to go to the bathroom 3 and 4 times a night. Now he is onto one or not waking up at all, going to the bathroom with his bladder help through the AmpCoil. So I'm now working on incorporating it into my practice more so that I can just so many more people can be exposed to it, especially women that are dealing with perimenopause. They just had a big meeting. I'm going to another meeting and trying to get more of like the biohacking technology and devices within the office. And definitely, focusing more on AmpCoil. And I'm just so grateful And I'm so happy I'm not a sweaty, gross mess anymore. I'm just so overly happy about the success that I've had with AmpCoil. So I'm so excited for everyone on this call that also hearing you guys' stories. It really is touching, and I'm just proud to be an AmpCoil owner.
So great. Oh my God, I love it. I love it. I share with you that Aaron was the person that I
Yeah,
talked to, and he got on the phone with me and he pulled me in. He's like, "Here's what you're gonna do." And
yeah,
yeah, it's amazing the value. And I hear two stories, right? Some people look at the album and they look at Better Guide and they say, "I don't know where to go. It's overcomplicated." And then other people sort of just jump right into the general detox. And for me, like general detox was just that was like where things really started to shift. I didn't even really get into the cleanses for a long, long
me either.
time.
Yeah.
I just
Hmm.
did that 1 through 30,
Yep.
and I did it a couple times, and then just supporting where I was supporting with
Yep.
the balancing,
Yep.
whether it's the harmonizer or it's deep sleep or relax all or balance the mind or some of the new ones we have now.
Because I would do one of those, and then if I wanted to do another one, like emotional balance and all of those, I would throw that in there as well. But I would each day I would do one of the 30 for 5 days in a row, and then I would take the break, 2 days off of no AmpCoil, and I just did that. And it has really changed my life. And oh, and another thing, I used to have to carry around these portable fans, and I would pull them out. I mean, imagine trying to go on a date and you're like, oh my God, wait, I got to pull out the fan. I need the fan. And now I don't even need the fan. Like, I don't even know where my fan is. So that's another plus. No
That's
longer the
so
lady with the
great.
fan in her bag.
Yeah, it's so good. The body knows how to heal.
So
And
true.
I know we can make up stories on why, we get a transformational result, but at the end of the day, I really do believe one of the most powerful things the technology does at AmpCoil is it just connects the signaling potential of the body. And
Yeah.
as that energy is moving through, it's connecting those pathways that were interrupted for whatever reason. Maybe it's living in Midtown Manhattan, maybe it's the burden of your net, environmental toxicants. Maybe it's a little bit of emotions, but we'll never know. But we get
Yeah.
too many testimonials like that where people start using and then the body just says, I don't need to express this way, this violently with these wild, weird symptoms. So awesome to hear your story. I love it.
Thank
So
you.
great.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. Where are you in Manhattan? Where's your office?
I'm on 41st between Madison and Fifth. So I'm right in Midtown.
Yep. Know it well. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Last thing, give us your top two journeys that you absolutely love that you can't do without right now.
In the morning, sometimes if I don't have time, that nervous reset, just a 10 quick minute of that, even if I'm dragging kind of throughout the day, and let's say I have a little bit of time in between a patient and I'm feeling just, lethargic, just dragging my day, I will go on for 10 minutes and that literally like brings me back to life. So that's like one that I feel is a quick thing. And I also do that sometimes in the beginning for patients. Also, well, I love um the harmon the
Demo harmonizer,
no, a demo harmonizer I like, but I like the one for the hormone
hormone
one.
harmony.
Hormone, yeah, yeah, the hormone harmony. That
Yep.
always, like, if I'm feeling, like something's a little off, or just for me, if I'm feeling like a little hot, I do that and I'm like good to go. So it's kind of like my go-to. But I play around with it so much, you guys. Like if like I'm feeling like if I drink a little bit too much, I'll do kidneys, I'll do bladder, I'll do like I just play
Yep.
around with it now because it's not something that I'm needing really to like maintain like the issues that I was having like with my hormones. So I'm
So
all
good.
over the place with it. I'm like obsessed
So
with it. You have
good.
no idea.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for sharing. We really appreciate your time. Really
Yes. Take
appreciate your
care, guys.
authenticity. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
Marcella.
Bye,
You're welcome,
Marcella.
cousin. Bye.
Bye. Let's see. Awesome. Yay. Well, we have a couple more. Thanks everybody for being here. I'm gonna take a moment and just pull up Miss Diane Ellis from Australia to come and be with us in the room so we can hear her epic story. Yeah, super inspiring this one. I'll let her kind of lead in um, once she gets all set up. Hi.
Hi,
Hello.
Diane.
How are you going?
We're good. How are you?
I'm amazing, thank you. Very, very good.
And where are
Yeah.
you reaching us now from in the world?
I'm at Tweed Head or near Tweed Heads on the Gold Coast.
Okay, Australia.
Yes, in Australia.
Good.
Yeah.
I just wanted to double check my geography. Gold Coast. Yep, Australia.
Yes. Yes.
I love it. Well, why don't you start us off? How is your journey with AmpCoil going, or how has it been?
It has been a really huge journey. I've had a lot of chronic illness pretty much my whole life. Asthma, allergies, my whole childhood. And then when I was about 19, I had chronic fatigue, which when I look back, I see a lot of Lyme type symptoms. But I started eating better and seeing naturopaths, and I improved to a degree where I could regain my health, but I always had that underlying fatigue. And then it was about 2010 that I got a lot of tick bites. And then I was seriously ill. So about 6 months after the tick bites, I was in hospital. I could barely walk, sleep, eat. And I looked like I was about 17 kilos lighter than I am now. And I was really in a bad way. Strangely enough, alfalfa leaf tea morning and night literally saved my life. After that cleansing, I started putting on weight after seeing all these other doctors and natural treatments and everything, but that was a godsend. And then I went for another year where I was touch and go, just getting through every day, but I was okay. Then I had a hidden tooth abscess. I had the tooth removed, and then I could start being active again, but I constantly had severe pain through my whole body. I had really bad digestive pain, like almost like I look back now, it was like a stomach ulcer, but I was tested and nothing came up. So the doctors didn't do anything. They always kept sending me home saying I had anxiety. We kept testing for Lyme. It always came back negative. I had really bad fibromyalgia, heart palpitations, never getting proper sleep. Yeah, you name it, I had it. I was just really in a bad way. And I did find quite a few natural treatments that really helped a lot, but I was consistently relying on them all the time, and still always a struggle every day. And then the Lyme Disease Association of Australia put out this notice about the AmpCoil coming to Australia. Come and check it out. So I went down to Byron Bay and met Aaron in Geneva, and I was really disappointed that night because like I had a radio show back then, and I was going to do an interview with them, and I thought, yeah, I'm definitely going to get a go on the coil here. But there was a lot of people, everyone really keen. I just sort of kept waiting, and I didn't get a turn on it. But the next morning, I woke up thinking, what has happened? Because I'd been in the room in amongst all these people who were coiling, and I woke up the next day feeling, wow, I feel better. And then I was ringing them up saying, oh, please, I want to have a go on the coil. I need to have a go. And so they said, yes, come on, we'll meet you and come and have a go. And one part of my health journey that I hadn't mentioned is that what I realized, oh, my apologies, what I
That's
realized
okay.
was connected to the hidden tooth abscess. I had an itchy scaly spot on my back, and I used black salve, which eats away cancerous cells, and it made such a big, it ate away so much I had to stop using it. And so in amongst my Lyme treatment, I had a lot of practitioners who were also giving me some cancer treatment. And I'd had thermal imaging. By the time I was starting to improve, I thought, and I decided I wouldn't be having any conventional treatment because all of my Lyme treatments that I'd discovered were helping me improve. And so, but I thought as I was improving, I thought I want some sort of evidence to show what's happening in my body. And one of my holistic doctors said, get some thermal imaging. And so thermal imaging showed, I was really worried about my spine because it had been so bad that one day I bent down to pull out a weed and I had a tearing feeling in my back and tingling in my feet. And I dropped to the ground just thinking, oh my God, I'm going to be in a wheelchair. And anyway, I just kept persisting with all of my natural treatments and all the different remedies and everything that I was taking. And I was slowly improving. And anyway, when I had my first session on my own with Geneva, it felt like, and my naturopaths and different people, and one who'd done a massage therapist had said I had lots of lumps and bumps in my. Sorry, I didn't mention the thermal imaging showed a 1 degree temperature difference in my right breast and all the trouble coming down from the hidden tooth abscess. So the right breast didn't worry me at all, and it showed a lot of vascular changes. But I thought, oh, that's no problem. It's my spine that was really worrying me. But because I'd been improving, I'm thinking I've got this and I'm gonna get better and I'll be fine. Somehow I'll be fine. Anyway, when I met Geneva and had that session, my first session with the coil, it felt like something was trying to push through my spine, through my neck, and it was so intense and so strong. It was just like, I don't know if I can stay with this, but I knew it was okay. But it was just really intense, and it felt like it was trying to push through the energy blockage. It was like you were just saying a minute ago, where there was a disconnect, something was actually reconnecting for the first time in a long time. And these trouble places, it went to every trouble place in my body. I felt it like that. And it was just like, whoa, what is happening? And afterwards, I rang my partner. I said, oh my God, it was amazing. I feel amazing. And he said, well, get it. Let's get it. And I said, oh, yeah, but it's a big expense. And I said, I want to go to the next one. So I drove 5 hours to Noosa, north to the next demonstration because I wanted to try it again. And the same thing happened again. And I just felt all of my problem areas. It was just the energy was just like bringing everything back to life and revitalizing. And so I bought the coil. And within 2 weeks, I'd been surfing a little bit here and there. And sometimes my daughter would carry my surfboard, my partner would carry my surfboard, and always be careful judging if it was going to be safe for me, if I'd be okay. And 2 weeks after having my coil, I'd do pain release almost every day. It was so hard to take a day off the coil. And 2 weeks after, I surfed for 2 hours, and I wasn't like, normally I would surf until my back felt like it would sort of be so weak and shaky, and I'd have to get out. And I surfed for 2 hours, and I was saying to my partner, oh my God, I feel fine. Like I know I'm not 100% yet, but it just gave me so much more strength and energy. And since then, I started off doing, because I felt like I'm going to kill this Lyme disease, I'm going to kill any cancer cells. So I did the organ support, nutrition support, those basic sort of starters and the pain release. But then I was just really just going for the cleanse programs really strong. But it hit me so hard, and it felt like it was breaking down areas, damaged areas in my body so fast I couldn't cope with it. And I'd suddenly feel like, oh my goodness, what's happening? Like my body's falling apart. And it's almost what I feel like, it's almost like maybe cancer is protecting us from whatever is happening, going wrong in our body. And if we're trying to just get rid of it without activating the self-healing process in our body, we're actually taking away something that's protecting us. And so then I started to understand, and talking speaking with that AmpCoil support, and I've forgotten a beautiful lady's name who I would always chat with. But
Geneva, Lori,
yeah,
Kate.
Laurie, yes, Laurie was so amazing. Always, saying which programs I could might be most helpful. And then I started doing the pain release has been amazing because I've had such physical problems and muscular. So that's been a really amazing. And then I started just really going through the detox steps, which was really helpful, and using some of the others. And the brain reboot was really good for my spine, particularly good for my spine. And then something recently in the last 6 months that I've come across is one of my dentists. Oh, and I also had hidden, so it wasn't root canals, it wasn't anything major. It was just that teeth that seemed fine actually had actually died and were poisoning me still. And so and then I'd had them taken out, but it wasn't done properly. So I had some cavitation surgery, and I was doing bone regen, and it would start aching in the areas where the bone had been cleaned out. And so I will get to some of the different programs because my story is such a big one. So the cleansing was too much for me, do all that. So then when I started doing more of the detox programs, and also when I had my dental surgery done, my dentist said to me, even though I had my amalgam fillings removed 30 years ago, he said, you've still got mercury in your body at high levels. And so I started doing some zeolite, but it turned out the powdered zeolite that I was taking was not good and had actually some metal shavings. And I got some liquid zeolite, and this was a really, really big turning point for me. I actually felt it go straight to the areas where I've had the problems. And then every single program that I'm doing with the coil seems to be a lot more effective because I'm able to bind those heavy metals properly and get them out. And so then I was doing like small intestine detox, and I've been doing the drainage assist. And so when I did the small intestine detox, by the end, my lymph nodes were really swollen on my right hand side, like really swollen in my groin. And so then I would do the lymphatic detox, and I'd be twitching for half an hour. I said to my partner, you got to film this. And my whole body's twitching from the groin lymph. It was just twitching. And then within an hour or two of that, the whole lymph node was just settled back down and gone again. And I don't know anything that I could ever do or that would be so effective in that lymph drainage. Anyway, so, and then very quickly, when I started to go through menopause, detox assist was amazing. All the hot flushes stopped. I did do hormone harmony for a while, but then it wasn't enough. Detox assist, and that all stopped, and was amazing. Emotion detox. I was actually separated from birth. I was adopted, separated from my mother at birth, and never saw her. When I did the emotion detox, because I'd already done a lot of emotional stuff, I'd been doing all the physical, the pain release and everything, and I thought, oh, I'll do the emotion detox. And it felt like, so when I say done a lot of emotion, I've done a lot of breath work and counseling and all that. So when I did the coil emotion detox, I felt like it lifted me emotionally to a place where people are already when they've not been separated from their mother. I can't explain how I felt that way, but it just felt like I suddenly got lifted to a place of that's the equilibrium where normally everyone is. Yeah. The bone regen's been amazing. I don't want to take up too much time. Do you want me to share quickly a few stories that I've had of others, or that's enough for now? We could always do that another day.
Well, I just want to make sure we have one more practitioner. We want Shay to get up
Yes.
and just say a little bit of, but one thing I just want to recap and just kind of again mirror back and echo Diane is that, you alluded to this idea that there is the body has a rhythm that it heals in, that it heals in an order that is aligned with nature, and that if we push too hard, sometimes then we're going to have resistance. And, I would liken that to, I think if we have any great body workers on the call or people who work with the fascial system, you cannot really force fascia. You can, but it'll bruise and you'll actually create more scarring. What we have to do is we have to hold space for it and just be present, and it'll actually unwind. And so I think a lot of the programs in the AmpCoil, and especially as Lori gives her tutelage on how to use those, they're given in such a way. Like we will say, do a session of general detox. And then if we feel bad the next day, we'll give it a day off and maybe we'll just do detox assist, right? If we push through all the cleanse journeys and we would have these things that would be known as like a detox pathway or a drainage pathway, whether that's lymph or it's like organs of elimination like the colon or the kidney, and they're not firing on all 5 cylinders, then we get this icky, yucky response within the body. And so it actually makes perfect sense when that happens. So I just want to reiterate that it is valuable to go slow, that we do have to give the body time. Like we don't get sick overnight. And so we can't literally do the 30-day detox in 30 days. Like we have to give it a little bit of time. And I just think I hear that a lot, but I can hear that coming out in your story a couple times.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you give your body that time and listen to what it needs, it actually works a lot faster, because when you push it, you're actually taking yourself backwards and you're not necessarily doing harm, but you're overloading your body so much that it needs to rest more. It needs to undo the overburden then.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, if you did this, another analogy, if you set somebody that had never been in a gym and you sent them in with a coach and said, okay, we're going to do an Olympic back squat today, it would be a very high likelihood of injury. And so we've got to go slow. There is I've been really on this phrase, health is a skill. It's something that we pick up, we practice, we work with, and eventually we'll get to a little area, a higher performance area. But it takes time, right? Just like learning an instrument. And so when we bring in this device, which has the electromagnetic component, as well as the frequency therapy, in a sense, the body is learning a new instrument. So through that process of entrainment, it does take time.
Absolutely. And I must say, Freddie, there's so many things that I tried everything I could possibly try. I went to every practitioner, as many of us do who have had Lyme.
Yeah.
And it really is such an amazing setup, the whole AmpCoil system, that it covers so many bases. And I don't think there is anything else that does that. And it's really a unique combination of those techniques. So it's wonderful.
That's a divine point to touch on. And I am just going to read a little bit of this quote that I posted today. One of the hardest things to teach a student and the hardest thing to believe consistently is that there is nothing out there to go and get, that there is no part, no career, no opportunity for which you should be searching or scouring and coveting. All of the preparation is within, and you keep yourself mentally and physically fit. You remain generous with yourself and others. You stay deeply in study about your craft. Whatever is yours will arrive. I think
Absolutely.
whatever is yours will arrive. Just stay focused on the craft.
It truly happens too. It truly does happen.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Well, thank you for sharing. And it's so nice of you to visit from the other side of the world.
Thank you for having me. It's really a joy.
Yes, thank you, Diane.
Yeah, and you guys
I remember that trip well. I remember Aaron in Geneva planning the Australia trip, and there was a woman that worked for the company, Joanne, and she was in Australia. She was facilitating everything. It was quite an endeavor around the world with AmpCoil at that time. Yeah.
And then it was so disappointing with COVID, because then they couldn't come back after that.
I know. What a bummer. Yeah.
Yeah.
It stopped a lot of travel for a while.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I either you can do it or I can do it. Diane has an awesome Instagram where she shares all sorts of inspiring stories from herself and the people that she works with. So you guys can see some of those stories there.
Thanks, Magnolia. And I am actually going to launch a bit of a protocol, 12-week protocol here in Australia, which will include the AmpCoil too. Like there's a health section, but there's an AmpCoil section too. So if there's anyone in Australia or my area that wants to join in or wants to talk to me about it, I'm really happy to help.
Amazing. I love that. Well, thanks for being with us. I'm going to change you back and bring up Shay. Shay is an amazing practitioner in, I believe it's South Carolina. Hopefully I got that right. But she works with AmpCoil with her clients and other modalities. But she has had not only her own personal experience, but many experiences with her clients. And as Shay is popping on, Sandy wrote down here in the chat that in an emergency, if I only had time to grab one item, it would be my amp coil. I have had the constellation of symptoms all those who shared have had, and a few more. I love all the programs and the fact that I do not have to guess with the voice print. I use it every day, at least twice a day. So thanks for sharing that, Sandy. We really appreciate hearing from you as well. It's not the first time actually somebody has said that. There's a couple other people. There was a woman who was actually in the fires in Southern California this past year who it was one of the only items that she grabbed
Mm.
as her home was catching on fire, and it has been
Mm-hmm.
a lifesaver for her, just like resetting her nervous system from that experience and everything. So, yeah, Danielle Page, she's a wonderful, wonderful woman, astrologer and avid AmpCoil supporter. So, um, Shay, were you able to get your camera on and your microphone going? I see that you're there.
Can you hear me?
Ah, we can hear you now.
Okay. Can you see me?
We cannot
Not
see
yet.
you though.
You can't see me?
Not yet.
Okay, hold on.
There we
Okay.
go.
There you
Okay.
are.
Now I don't know if I can. Okay. There we go. How are you guys this evening? Some amazing testimonials there.
So cool, right?
I don't even know where to start.
Ah,
Like 2 amp coils. So I guess I got my amp coil back in 2018, maybe, I think. It's been so long I can't remember. 2018, between 2018 and 2019. And I guess my journey was I began to get sick with strep throat. And so I would go, and amazingly enough, my background is a pharmacist. So, what do? You go to the doctor, you get a prescription, and this strep throat kept reoccurring. 6 weeks into antibiotics, and it was like, we don't know what to do with you. You're going to end up with SIBO. You're going to have a lot of gut problems. You might have an infection from taking too many antibiotics. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said something like, these doctors aren't doing me any good. I've never had to take medicine. Even dispensing it, I've never had to take it. So now realizing I started to have paralysis of the face, all kinds of different issues from prescription medication. So a friend of mine said to me, I'm going to tell you a secret. I want you to go see this naturopath. And I said, I'm willing to try anything at this point. So I go to this guy, and he was pretty good. And then it opened these doors into this world that I'd never, ever dreamed existed. So I started asking more people. And I started seeing 3 or 4 different practitioners because I was getting slightly better, but maybe not all the way. And I met an acupuncturist, and she had ordered an amp coil. And she said, I need some patients to experiment on it, you know. And I did a voice print, and I had been going to a practitioner who said that I had Lyme's disease. But the biggest problem was the strep throat. Secret was my husband was a carrier and gave it to me over and over and over again, and we never knew it. So finally, she said, you know what? Just crazy enough, go see if your husband has strep. And he did, and he was a carrier of strep. So I stayed away from him a little bit. Then I got close to him a little bit, and there was again. So we began to learn to use AmpCoil, I would say almost together. And it was the most amazing tool ever. And the beginning of my journeys were simple, organ tune-ups, nutrition tune-ups. And then I had made this decision to go back and study naturopathic medicine, integrative medicine, and take this world I discovered and put a protocol together, because I was kind of seeing somebody who did colonics. I was going to an acupuncturist. I was going to someone who did biofeedback. I was going to a naturopath, and everybody had some great points, but somehow I was getting overwhelmed and having too many supplements. And so I needed to formulate something a little bit better. So I started putting programs together and feeling so amazing, doing programs on the AmpCoil, lessening the supplementation. But I learned about homeopathy, I learned about supplementation, and I learned how to use it in coordination with the AmpCoil. And it was the biggest turnaround. And of course, I put my husband on the AmpCoil. And that was a big turnaround too. And the next thing you know, my children were on it. We were fighting for it. I decided to open up a practice. And so we bought a second one because there wasn't enough of us. Enough AmpCoil for all of us to sit on the journeys. I remember one time we all got the flu at the same time. And it was the most amazing recovery when we did the twice a day cleanse. And, we paired up and we did the AmpCoil, and we had healed so quickly, and everybody else around us was still sick. So that was wonderful. So I ended up opening a practice, and I learned to do biofeedback. I learned to do muscle testing. And of course, using the biofeedback on the AmpCoil and combining muscle testing, then I was able to pick and choose the journeys. The body's response was great. So I could pick and choose the journeys that helped heal. Some people responded well to cleansing. Some people, if you got them cleansing, they had a bad experience. They needed rejuvenation a lot more, I guess is the right way to say it, a lot more for a couple of months before they can even go into cleanse. So it was the biggest learning experience with the greatest, I would say, gift at the end of the day. So I was able to help people, and lo and behold, now I've been in practice for almost 6 years, and it's been going great.
Amazing. Shay, where is your practice at?
Greenville, South Carolina.
Greenville, South Carolina.
Yes.
I knew that.
Yes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you've really been there for a majority of the time the AmpCoil's been around even.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, early adopter. Early
Yes.
adopter. And do you have any favorite programs of the new ones that have been launched as of late?
I love the immune aid. I think it's just a 5-minute immune. I love that. I love the drainage assist. That's been a really good one. Actually, I love all the journeys. It just depends on the day. I love to read, and I'll tell you what my favorite is with my skeptical clients. It's a little sneaky, but they've come in and they want vitamins and they want supplements. And it's funny because they understand that world, but the frequency is a little like they don't know that. So I'll put them on positivity as their first journey. And they'll call me the next day and go, wow, I feel fantastic.
Amazing.
Or Relaxol for their anxiety. Those hit home. I used to go 1,000 miles an hour before I got sick with the strep and the limes. And so now I'm down to, maybe 800 miles an hour. I'm just kidding. But, the point is, for a long time, I crashed, and it really hurt me because I couldn't exercise. I couldn't run around and do the things. And I was not willing to give up the things I enjoyed. So the AmpCoil has really allowed me to go back to that. And for example, I work out all the time, and the tendons in my toes started separating, and my feet started looking strange. And I did general detox muscle tissue fascia. And all of a sudden, my toes started healing, and my, feet started healing. So I can't imagine life without it. I think that every time a bump comes along the way, it's been there for me to heal it.
Yeah, agreed. Opportunity knocks.
Yep.
Incredible. Incredible. Well, we're so thankful that you are a resource for people in the Carolinas and they have access to AmpCoil down there as we grow all the practitioners that are using it across the country. And yeah, thank you for being so creative in your use of it. It's really important.
Well, thank you for having me on here. And the biggest joy is when I get somebody who's been going places for 5 or 6 years, whether it's to a doctor or sometimes holistic practitioner, and it has actually turned their life around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are the best. Those are the best. It certainly has a place at all tables, I think.
Well, and thank you guys for your support. The team of people that you have, sometimes I know what to do, but I'm not sure, or I get a little stuck and I'm like, I want to double check. You guys are always available to us.
They're pretty amazing. Yeah, they're pretty amazing. Thank you, Shay.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Shay. It's always great to see you and hear your voice. And I just love how AmpCoil like pivoted your life and you just decided to go into functional medicine and be a naturopath. And that's just really, really cool. I didn't know that part of your story. So thanks for sharing that.
Thank you guys. You have a wonderful evening.
You
You
too.
too. All right, Magnolia, you're gonna close it up.
I am going to close it up. Thanks to everyone who shared with us and all of our users who have joined the call and anyone who is new or exploring this community. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. If you are one of those individuals who is not a current AmpCoil owner and this, call has given you more to think about, and maybe you have some additional questions about the functionality of AmpCoil. Freddie is actually going to be doing a call. It's from 3 to 4 o'clock Pacific time, and this is a QR code where you can register for the call. It goes over what is PMF, what is AmpCoil, kind of gets down to more of the nitty gritty of the science behind it. And so, again, if you have any questions, please join us there, or you can register for that call if you're not going to be able to make that time. And we will send you a recording of the discovery webinar so that you can learn more. And hopefully, you've had a chance to get out your phone and scan that code. And if you're catching this recording later, you can actually still scan that code and it will register you for our next available webinar. So it's not just exclusive for this. And of course, if you are not an owner, we do have our Black Friday sale that we are releasing now, where you can get $400 off an AmpCoil total package system, a free travel bag that you can see right here that it all fits in, and a free 2-year warranty, which is usually worth $250. And if you're maybe not so sure about the mat and you just want to start with the base model, we are giving you $200 off the base model and a free 2-year warranty. And then also for our current owners, if you haven't tried the mat yet, and you'd like to go ahead and, see what Brad was talking about and see what all these different individuals are talking about the mat enhancement with their experience, we're giving you $200 off your mat purchase, for Black Friday. And this ends on Cyber Monday, which I believe is December 1st, at just before midnight that night. If you already own a 3.0 and you're going to get a mat, we will send you a free travel bag with it. And if you're one of those individuals who've been with us for a long time and you have an AmpCoil 2.0, a 44-pound dinosaur of a creature, or our Trekker, you can trade in your device for our new, smaller, sleeker. This is the picture of it here. It fits underneath the seat back in front of you on a plane. It's only 12 and a half pounds. we are offering you that for $100 off with a free 2-year warranty to go along with it, and a free travel bag. So there's a little bit of something here for everyone. And if you're somebody like Shay, or like Wendy, where you have one and maybe it's going to go off to college with your kid, or maybe you are going to use it in your practice, give us a call because we have an extra special deal right now for anyone wanting to purchase a second device for their home office, or maybe you just want to give a gift to one of your loved ones. Get in touch with someone at the headquarters and we will let you know about your extra special deal. So I'm gonna stop sharing. Freddie, thank you so much for being such an amazing host. I always love the wisdom that you have to share as well.
My pleasure. Love to hold space for everybody's offerings right now. It's so, again, it's a great reminder how different each of our paths through healing are going to look. But I think we heard a lot of themes that were overlapping today. We're not going to push the body beyond its ability or willingness to heal at a certain time. We have to listen, the deep listening. We want to listen to those cues and prompts. We want to go slow. We want to understand that there are seasons outside, winter, fall, spring. The bodies, we do not fruit in all seasons. So there'll be a time to go slow. There'll be a time to push. I think that was, and I picked that out as a lot of the testimonials. And your body does have a pathway to heal. It doesn't necessarily need a surgery or a supplement. Sometimes it's just getting that internal communication network back on, and it's the body doing that, right? As we heard so many amazing, amazing stories of transformation. The reality is the energy moved through the body, and the body said, let's just do away with that hot flash. Let's do away with that chronic pain. Let's optimize our NK killer cells. So I just want to, again, put the onus on the body. The body is what's doing the healing. AmpCoil is sending signaling, not indifferent from a peptide. It's a really interesting way to think about it. So yeah, it's a treat for me to hear these all again and just expand my brain. So thank you.
Yay. Well, we hope that everybody else feels good about this call. And yeah, thank you so much for being a part of this community in whatever capacity you are. And we will catch you next time around the bend. Happy coiling and healthy vibes to all of you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.